I'm sorry, I didn't even think about it.
My mistake. Too many irons in the fire this morning.
It's quiet. We haven't seen any heads pop up.
Well, the door is shut and I've got the headphones on and Pop-Pop's doing a good job. So
I bet Pop-Pop's having fun.
he is having a blast. So there's absolutely no problem about that. Matter of fact, I'm going to send some photos that we took at breakfast this morning so they can actually see that their son is doing okay.
Oh, send me a picture. I'd love to see a picture. I'm serious. I love grandbaby pictures.
Oh, don't open that window. We could send you tons.
My grandbabies are 2 dogs at this time that live with me right now. So I have grand dogs.
Hey, you know, they come in all sizes.
They do.
Yep.
They do.
I-
And
I
they're
only
good
have
babies.
I only have grandsons, so I have one granddogger. So she's the only one that's a girl. so my granddogger.
All right, so it looks like we're coming back on really quick. Whoops, I just popped my power cord. That's okay. We'll be all right without that for a little bit. So welcome back, you all. Hope you enjoyed our morning session so far. I just wanted to let you know, and it was totally my mistake. I should have started recording our session at the very first moment at 9 o'clock, but we did not do that. But right now we are being recorded for the remainder of our program. I apologize, Wynn and Anita, you both gave great presentations and oh wow. So if we were live, we wouldn't be we wouldn't be normal, right? So we are being recorded just to allow everybody to know that fact. And so we're going to continue on. And so welcome back. And so now we'd like to have our DG, Berta Pickett, chat with us a little bit. She's got a great session on making meetings meaningful. And I'm sure we're going to get a lot out of that. Berta, we're happy to see you this morning and let's get you started right now.
Good morning, everyone. And I'm going to start my slideshow. You know, this last session that Wynn did, fabulous, is, I don't know how to make it so that, sorry.
You're not sharing yet, Roberta.
That's the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So my apologies there. Share my screen. That would help, wouldn't it? Okay. So
There you go. We see you.
Okay, good. So last session, Wynn was talking really about increasing our impact. And as you know, that's one of the 4 priorities that we have in Rotary this year and going forward because it's part of our strategic plan. And I am going to be sharing a little bit about what you can do to enhance participant engagement, which is another one of those priorities, right? And one of the best ways is that we all know that we can enhance participant engagement is through our meetings. Make meetings meaningful. That's one of the best things that you as club presidents can really do. You may, for those of you where I was able to have the district governor visit with your club in person, you may remember that I brought M&Ms with me. M&Ms, it's like, what are M&Ms? Good. It's a reminder to make meetings meaningful. So I want you to just remember that every time you go into the grocery store and you see that bag of M&Ms, you're gonna go, what did DG Berta say? Make meetings meaningful, because that is one of your most important roles as president this coming year. So how do you do that? You have to envision what you want, plan and prepare. You can't just wing it all the time. You can wing it once in a while, but don't wing it all the time. The more you can plan and prepare, then when you do have to wing it, you've got a lot more behind you. Communicate out what you want so everybody knows what's happening. be sure to tune into your members' needs and their energy and their desires, because it's when you envision what you want, part of what you want to envision is what they want and how to make that happen. And certainly allow for flexibility. We've seen a little bit of that this year. So I want to, as we get started here, recognize all of you new PEs coming into the fold, also those club presidents who are continuing on this coming year, or others of you who have been president before and are doing it again. You know, one of the things is no year is ever the same. So yes, you have abilities, you have knowledge, you have experience, and next year will bring in new experience as well. So you have to be flexible. Important to start out with envisioning what you want. Create a vision in your mind of what would a wonderful, meaningful meeting look like every week for your club. It might be having meetings outside. Many of our clubs, I don't want to say we're forced to do it, but that was a choice, right? We couldn't meet inside, so we actually met in parks or in parking lots, out in fields, beautiful things to do. But maybe that is part of what you want, is to incorporate that in an outside thing. You want to have smiles on all the faces of your club members. Know what you want from a really, really good meeting. And we're talking about that more as we go on. So start thinking about what would make a really enjoyable, meaningful meeting for you and for your club members. The other thing is to plan and prepare. The more you can do, the easier it will be for you when you get up in front of the club in your meetings, you know, in-person space, or whether it's on Zoom like this. All of us get nervous. So the more you can plan and prepare ahead, it's okay. You're all going to have little things that happen, like, oops, we forgot the record button. Believe me, it happens to all of us. So it's okay. Just know that you can plan ahead. The more you can plan, the easier and smoother it will go. But what needs to be planned? Well, is every meeting you have the same? I don't think so. Some of your meetings are more for fellowship and for the speaker and what the program itself is. Others are going to be more focused on your fundraisers or your upcoming projects. So know what your specific purpose is for each meeting. That's an important one, so that you can focus more on that and let some of the other things maybe slide or take a smaller amount of time. Have a weekly agenda. It's really important that if you have an agenda, you can keep everybody on track and you can keep yourself on track. Because the more nervous you are, guess what? All of a sudden you forget. It's like, where was I? What do I have to talk about? What do I have to do next? So have that agenda. It's your fallback, okay? And involve others in your meetings. The more people are involved in actually doing a piece of it, first of all, there's less that you have to do. But the other thing is more people are engaged, right? There's more people talking. There's more people actually having a part. So people tend to pay more attention and be more engaged as actually involved. But if you are going to ask somebody to do a piece, please try to ask them beforehand. You may not on everything, but really if they have to do a project report or a fundraising status or the thought for the day, be sure to ask them beforehand so they can be prepared and they can feel good about what they present as well. So plan and prepare. But let's go back to the purpose. What do you have to plan and prepare? You have to plan and prepare so many purposes. In the chat box, just if you can a little bit, we'll think about it. Let's not go to the chat yet. What are the purpose of some of your meetings? Some of them are going to be for fellowship. Some of them are going to be for, like I said, the status update on projects. You want to learn about Rotary. Wynn just talked about sharing great heartfelt stories, and a couple of us did get to tears on that one that you shared. But there's so many stories like that about Rotary and the difference that we make in the Rotary Foundation. And just learning about Rotary itself and the expansiveness of it. You can learn about your community and the world through our meetings. There are lots of different ones. You have different board meetings as well. And that's a different purpose, or an assembly. So think about the purpose of your meeting and then create an agenda. A number of you mentioned at the beginning of this that we had put out in Google Classrooms an example of a meeting agenda. This is certainly not a be all and an end all. It's just a template for you to start with. So if you don't have one, maybe this is the starting place and say, we don't do it that way in our club. Awesome, change it. This is just a start. This is just a way to go, how do we do it? Or how do I want to do it for this coming year? So you think about that, what are some of the things you might add or subtract from this? Well, I was looking at it. I used this a couple of years ago when I was club president. And I actually printed it out and then hand wrote in who was going to do the different pieces. You might want to add the 4-way test on here. Or maybe your focus this week is really about your speaker and you want to, you're not going to have as many of your club business announcements. Or maybe it's going to be an assembly and you're not going to have a program. So you're going to cross that out. So change it up, but have it. It's a great way to have a template. I made copies, one for each week of the year that I had the meeting. It made it easier to go forward. You can download it and from Google Classrooms, and we'll also add it to the chat box as well.
It is in the chat box.
Awesome, because Robin's on top of it. I appreciate it. Thank you. And when you do actually have, when you do have your meeting scheduled and you know what it's going to be, is it going to be in person? Is it going to be on Zoom? Is it going to be meeting in a field in the middle of a park? Whatever it's going to be, get the word out. Make sure you get it out in your newsletters or on your Facebook pages, or send it out in some format so that you can make sure that everybody, as many possible, can attend. And even if people aren't in Rotary or they aren't attending, if they hear about who your speaker is or was, that's really sounds interesting. It starts to generate, you start to engage people. Maybe they haven't come to the meeting yet, but you're engaging them up here and in the heart. So getting the word out is really important. Spread that word. And a shaker might tell you, ask a guest to attend. Ask one, bring one, I think his phrase was, if I remember from what Anita was telling me. So spread the word, ask a guest to attend, and communicate out about your meetings. The more people are involved, the more you're going to engage them. One thing that we did back in our club, and I borrowed this idea from the Rotary Club of Ione. I went to one of their meetings and they were in-person meetings. So this works best for that. But at every place setting, they had a placemat. And this was actually a placemat that had all the information about their club, of the agenda, the upcoming meetings and projects that were going on. It was a really cool way to keep informed, and you could take that home and give it to your spouse or put it on the refrigerator as a reminder for next week, etc. So just another idea that you could use to keep people informed and let people be aware of what's happening. And that's in Google Classrooms and on chat as well. So let's go back to thinking about what you want in those club meetings, and really how would it be, what is it that you have right now in your clubs? So I want you to think about, we're going to take a poll in a second, and I want you to you can choose as many adjectives that apply to your club meetings currently, but just think about it. So Robin's going to launch that poll for me. And
actually, Berta, I've got a challenge here. I'm being told I'm logged in from another device and it's inactive.
I'm going to launch it then.
Okay,
so
if you can do it, great.
Your poll
Sorry.
is up. Your poll is up.
Okay, so what you need to do is go in there and click on all the ones that describe your meeting, that apply. And we're going to take about 30 seconds to do that. I can see the polling information coming in. So go ahead and fill that out. About 10 more seconds. Okay, I'm going to close that poll. Last chance to enter anything you want. Okay, we're going to end that polling, and I'm going to share the results with you. What you can see, hopefully you can all see that on the screen, is that 68% of you said your clubs or your meetings are organized and engaging, entertaining, and pretty much always interesting. A few of you said, a little predictable, a little boring. Okay, whatever it is, you have information now. Now this was obviously all of us, but you could do something with your own club, right? To get to a sense of how do people feel about what your club is. And if you're one of those ones that marked boring or a little too predictable, perhaps, maybe you want to think about what ways that could you do to change it up, to make it a little bit more meaningful. But I love those who've just said it was just plain fun. It's always interesting, and it's really engaging and interesting. It's awesome. So let us think about then, if you were, oops, it's not progressing. How do I get that? Okay. I guess I need to do that. Okay, so one thing is to ask all of your members about how they would describe a meeting, but you know, it might be a very different thing if you were to ask a guest how to describe your meetings. Would your guests still describe your meeting as engaging and energizing and just plain fun? Do they understand when you say LLA or rally or TRF, or, you know, there's so many acronyms that we use, and we use them because we're comfortable with them, we're used to them. But do they feel welcome? Do they feel engaged? Do they feel like they have a part to play? Or do they understand what you're talking about? Do you stop and include them in and introduce them? All of those things are important. So you might want to ask also how your guests, you might want to ask a guest to attend just to be a fly on the wall and say, would you evaluate us afterwards? Just meet privately so I have a sense of how it went, because it would give me a good idea of how our clubs come across to other people. So those are things that you can do as president as next year. We also want to think about what are those things that make it enjoyable or engaging or interesting, right? So I'd like you to write into the chat box two things, the top two things that you personally enjoy in a meeting. So Robin and Karen, I think you guys are going to be monitoring that for me in case I can't, if I miss anything.
Yes.
But write into chat, if you would, the top two things that you enjoy in a meeting. Interesting speakers and fellowship, socializing, interesting speaker. Yep, recognition of members. That's a really important time. Service
The program.
time. The program itself. Project planning, actually getting in there and doing something, making the plan for ahead.
Food.
Awesome food. Okay, good. Really good. Thank you guys. That's awesome. So
Happy dollars.
Happy dollars. Yeah, getting to share the good things in our life. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's also important to share those sad bucks too, because life happens, and not everything in life is great, but it's to have a support structure, a support system, a bunch of friends who care. And when you have something happens in your life, to have that support really makes a difference.
Somebody mentioned meeting with my Rotary clan.
Oh, I like it. Having a good clan is is an important thing. So I think you saw some of these, the interesting topics with the speakers, having storytelling, heartfelt storytelling. You saw how we all responded to Wynn's story. We all are human beings with big hearts, and especially our big Rotary hearts, right? So tell those stories, because that's what engages. You tell a story like that and you have a guest at that meeting, guess what? You may have a future member there as well, because they go, oh, that's what Rotary's all about? Wow. So think about what you want to include in your meetings to make sure that they're interesting and engaging and fun.
Yeah, planning fundraisers and other future events.
Yeah, making sure you have something so that you're not, remember, planning and preparing for something is part of what makes it easier for you, but it's also what allows your club members to be engaged. So for some reason, I am not moving forward. Okay, why not? Sorry, guys, I don't know why it's not going forward. Yes, so make sure that you ask your members what they enjoy as well, because what you enjoy may not be exactly the same, but chances are it's pretty close. But ask them. They'll appreciate being asked, because again, that's another way to engage them in the process. So we're going to have a chance to actually, because we want to actually have a takeaway for you, we're going to have a breakout session. You're going to be set up in random breakouts with a handful of other people. Pick a scribe, someone to write down all the ideas, because it's so easy as things get happening that things are missed. But I want you to talk about what specific things could you actually do in your club meetings to make it more meaningful or more fun. And think about it. It might be different if you have a Zoom meeting versus an in-person one too, right? Those might be different actions. And in that way, try to come up with at least 5 ways to make your club meetings more meaningful. One of the things, as you are participating in this and listening, be sure to write down the ideas that trigger for you. Go, that's a great idea. I hope you all have some sort of a notebook, whether it's electronic or good old paper and pencil, that you take down meetings as you come across them, or you go visit another club and you go, oh, I love what they do, because that's part of this learning process. And feel free to steal great ideas from other clubs. Okay, are we ready to break into the sessions? Dennis, are we ready to go? You're going to be asked to go in to your club session. You're going to have 4 minutes to break out and discuss, and then we'll come back. You'll have a 30-minute warning before we come back in.
30-second, and I'm ready to do that if we're ready to go. So
okay, let's break out and talk about what you can do in your club meetings. I see them all starting to go away.
yeah, actually, it's also assigned the co-host. So if the co-host will just not go
Yeah,
in,
but you have a chance to not join.
yeah.
I'm not gonna join.
Okay. So you've got 4 sessions, assuming that the co-hosts are not joining. So, but it looks like some of them went in. So they're large. They're larger groups. Lisa, do you want to join a group? Oh, she may not be there.
Okay.
Just so you know, I did 4 groups because I had, we've got 32 people and I backed out the 9 co-hosts, or the co-hosts that we have. So.
Okay, so that's fine.
There looks like 5 to 6 people in the different groups. Oh. 10, 23.
Okay, so we'll get everyone back in a few minutes.
I'm gonna bring him back at 10:23.
Okay. Win, I think I already have PDG syndrome. Or I talk too much, talk too long.
I realized I was muted.
Well, it's easy. You start thinking, I have all so many things I want to say.
Well, it's good. It's all good stuff. I wish we had ended up with a few more presidents-elect.
Yeah,
They-
this seems a little light, doesn't it?
Well, you know, they've been inundated, and I actually
have.
got the emails of how many more post pets are we going to have? It was like, how many more trains are we supposed to go to? And I get it because they have had way more this time around. Even though they haven't been full weekends, they still feel like, because every weekend they've had something, it's felt like a lot. So,
Oh, interesting.
True enough.
yeah. Know why? Sometimes I can use my mouse to fast forward. Other times it won't let me, and I don't understand what the difference is.
Roberta, I have the same problem with mine. Sometimes
I have that problem as well.
I like to use the arrow keys, but at some point they stop working. I have to use the little wheel on the mouse. I mean, I don't know why, but
And then you finally, if you go down to the bottom of the presentation, there's these little arrows down at the bottom, but originally,
It's because you have lost the connection to your slide. You've
Oh.
moved somehow. You've got to get back and re-engage your slide deck.
okay, well,
Well,
at
that
least
might
the
be
arrow
you-
at the bottom
So
works.
if you move over and move your notes or something,
They're coming
You-
back in
you've got to get back
20
in.
20 seconds.
Okay, you've got to reconnect with your slide deck.
Okay, well, I'll have to figure that
I
out.
have to
another
work on
time.
that. Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
Just you have to take your cursor and actually go click your slides,
Okay.
and then
Good to
you'll
know.
re-engage.
Welcome back, John.
Thank you.
Welcome back,
Welcome back,
everybody.
John.
Look at them pop, just like popcorn.
I love
That
it.
was too fast. That was too
That
fast.
was too fast. We should have.
I
had
like
10
that, Jeff.
minutes.
You got to mention that, Tony,
Mention what?
what Jeff just said.
Oh, I got it. I
Good,
trust me, I was
good.
writing as fast as I could. I love that too. That was a good one. I think I've got it right. Anyway.
You know, you think 4 minutes is a long time, but when people
Oh.
start talking, it
We
does.
need 40.
Aw, well, that would be ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
In a perfect world.
But you know what? That's
If I
a good
may-
idea too. It's something you could actually do in a club meeting. Have a session like this where you just break out and you talk about it. What can we do
Yeah.
differently? And let your members give you ideas. So we're still slowly coming back in, huh? And Robin, you're gonna have to, I can't see everybody on my screen, so you're gonna have to tell me when we're ready to start again.
I think everyone's back.
I think so. We only had like 32 people, and that's what's in the
I only
chat.
see
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I'm gonna get us back going. First of all, I do want to debrief and get some of the ideas that you heard. So who would like to share? And Robin, I'm gonna ask you to call them because like I said, I can't see everybody's and I can't see whose hands up. Anybody like to
Hold on,
share?
let me-
Sure, I will.
Tony, I see Tony's hand go up. Okay, go girl.
All right, all right. Well, Tammy was talking about she wants to just improve her club in different ways. They did have, in fact, when I went to one of their meetings, they had their Zoom, somebody on Zoom and their meeting in person before everything got locked down. So she wants to possibly do that again, even though they don't have good internet in the place where they meet in person. So they want to try next month to start getting back together again, go completely live. Except when they have speakers that are coming from out of town, they'll still do those on Zoom for now to accommodate the speakers. Anita suggested about asking members to survey like we did earlier too, to find out what they want to do.
Awesome.
Jeff Key, I'm sorry.
Just one more, and then I'm
yeah.
going to get to someone else. So Jeff's, what was Jeff's suggestion?
Oh yeah, Jeff's is a good one. He wants to combine Zoom and in person also, like hybrid, but his big thing that we all said we wanted to say is his joke sessions when he was in, I think, I couldn't tell what Jeff said, where he got this from his other club that he was in, but somebody would tell a joke and people would rate it. And then according to the rating, that's how much money would be donated, like maybe up to $5 or something. So I thought that was kind of cute. So he wants to bring that into his meeting.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Thank you. Thanks,
Marshall has his hand up.
Marshall, and I'm going to ask so we can get a few more groups, two ideas.
So I was the scribe for room 4. Some great ideas included making sure that everyone in the club knows what the club's goals are for the year when the year starts. Also asking club members for ideas about what kinds of speakers they'd like to hear, and making sure that some of the programs include talks by the members themselves about what they do, craft talks.
Very good. Yeah, important. How often do we realize that maybe we don't know our club members as much as we thought we did, right? So great having that opportunity to get to know them as well. Okay, who else? Any one of the other breakout sessions like to share? Okay.
I'm not seeing hands.
Anybody? So one of the things that I did before this talk was I reached out to the current club presidents and I asked them, what would their feedback be to you all, to the incoming presidents-elect? And I got a lot of responses from the presidents, and I combined it. I shortened some of the responses to make it so it wasn't 6 pages long, but I call it the wisdom from the presidents. So it is in your chat box. You can download there. It's also in Google Classrooms. So check that out. They have some ideas for you as well. And I just appreciate their comments to help you on your way as club president starting July 1st. So I recently fell in love with a guy named Steve Farber. He's an extreme leadership coach, and I started reading his books and went, I love this guy. But he talks about what makes a meeting meaningful as well. And he talked about share who you are as a club and as individuals and why. And you just mentioned that. Create a culture of love in your meetings. And if you're with people you love, then you listen, right? You involve them, you support and acknowledge them. Great, make sure you have lots of encouragement and laughter in your meetings. Those are that create that culture is so important. Serve them, be a servant leader, serve your community, get more and more people involved, know what they want so you can serve them and serve their needs. Make time in your meetings to connect and interact. If you don't have that, you're not going to have that meaningfulness that we need as fellow club members. Don't make it just be about words. Take action as well and be bold with it. And certainly when you focus on serving on the needs of others, you are giving joy and you're getting joy back. And that's an important one for me. So sometimes too, but you want to have some humor in your meetings. Be careful with humor because we have to make sure we don't disrespect. We have to make sure that we're careful with it. But good humor can be great. You want to have good humor when you can in your meetings, and that's a good thing. And almost last but not least, these are some of the thoughts that I want to take away with. Steve Farber, Extreme Leadership Coach, says, leap into your year as club president. Let your love for your club members energize you into taking inspired, audacious action that gives them proof of the value that you all add to your community and the world. That's what you create, and you can have a meaningful year. Shaker might say, together we see this world where people unite and take action to create lasting change. Just remember, bring a guest. And Berta Pickett might just say to you, make your meetings meaningful and you will grow Rotary. So with that, I want you to remember to make your meetings meaningful. Keep those M&Ms top of mind. And are there any questions? I don't see any hands raised.
No, but this
That's
is great.
because you've
Thank
given
you.
us so much to think about. Thank you so much for your presentation. And well, being that I love M&Ms, I'm not going to forget what it means now when it deals with my Rotary meeting. And I think I might bring some to the next one I have in person. So thank you so much for helping us understand a little bit more about one of the 4 priorities, and that would be engaging or enhancing participant engagement. So thank you for showing us the way to that. So Berta, thank you very much.
And-
Oh,
got
there,
my
look at that.
M&Ms.
Tammy's got her
Tammy.
M&Ms with her.
You came prepared. Thanks,
I
Tammy.
did.
Okay, thanks you all.
Great. Have a great day. So now we would like you to think about increasing our ability to adapt a little bit now, another one of our priorities. And we'd like to bring up PDG Gail. She's going to be talking to us about a program that Anita, DGE
You wanna bring
Anita, has
her in.
asked us to look into doing, and that is called Visioning. And Visioning has really met the changes and adapting head on. So Gail, take over.
Thanks, Karen. Good morning, everybody. I want to add my welcome to all of you and a thank you for spending your Saturday morning with us as we talk about how we can align ourselves with Rotary International's strategic plan in order to achieve our vision for our clubs. For my part, I'm going to ask you to consider how club visioning can increase your club's ability to adapt, particularly in the changing world that we currently occupy. Next slide, please. So what is a club visioning? Some of you are familiar with what used to be club visioning. It's changing, improving, I think. And these are some of the topics we would like to briefly chat about and hopefully answer some questions for you this morning. To start with, please watch this upcoming less than 3-minute video.
Welcome. Congratulations on being president-elect. This past year has been a challenge for our clubs and our members. Our world has changed, and in this coming year, it will bring on new changes. How do we meet those challenges? While Rotary core values will remain the same, we need to find new ways to deliver the Rotary experience. This is past District Governor Tom Ripperda from District 6510. And joining me today is Laura Carey. She is past district governor from 6580. Visioning is designed for all club sizes, from the largest to the smallest. It has been designed to focus on the needs of each individual club and results in a living plan. Visioning is an opportunity for clubs to plan for a successful and more effective future. It gives clubs the tools to produce a vision for success. Rotary International has suggested that clubs develop a plan for the future. So how does visioning fit in, Laura?
Well, thank you, Tom. Instead of starting all over each year, visioning allows a club to increase their ability to adapt, expand their reach, increase their impact, and enhance their engagement. It allows clubs to have 3 necessary tools to be successful: consistency, continuity, and consensus. With these 3 tools, you have a strong communication.
Laura, can you provide us some details on putting on a visioning event?
So the event can be in person or virtual. It is important to get everyone's opinions and dreams for their club. The time commitments: in person, 1 session for 4 hours. Virtual is broken down into 2 sessions with a maximum time of 2 hours each. So Tom, what can we expect from visioning?
Clubs that have experienced visioning are energized, focused, and engaged. That makes the club very attractive to others. So Laura, what's the next step?
This is very easy. Get the approval of your club leadership and contact your district visioning chair today to find out more about how club visioning will help your upcoming year be the best year ever.
Great, thanks, Dennis. Okay, so that's a little outline of what a club visioning is. So why do it and who participates? For those of you who are familiar with the old visioning format, it has not changed for the in-person events. Those in-person events can support 12 to 25 club members participation. However, we are not yet prepared to facilitate in-person events. We hope that that will be later this year. The virtual format can support up to 12 members, which means that it may not be satisfactory for larger clubs who need more participation. For those who are new to visioning, this is a way to move your club forward with a 3-year plan, something the current RI President Holger encourages. It is a way to develop more consistency, consensus, and continuity in your clubs. And for those of you who think you know visioning, there are some new and exciting pieces to help your club achieve your goals. Next slide, please. As you heard, the virtual format is 2-hour sessions with at least 24 hours and no more than 5 days between them. The in-person format remains the same, 4 hours in 1 evening. However, again, we're not currently entertaining those in-person events. The virtual format requires that participating members be willing to engage over the period between the scheduled sessions. For example, those of you who are familiar with visioning, the initial voting on goals occurs during the first session. But the second round of voting occurs when we send you an email so that you can complete so we send you an email with a link so that you can conduct the second round of voting so that we can compile the results before the second session. This saves time and also provides a little bit of extra time for the new exciting pieces of visioning, which will help your club establish goals and an action plan a little bit quicker than you did in the past. The virtual format requires prior planning and is a bit more extensive than the planning we did previously for the in-person training, in that you receive a questionnaire in the mail, which we ask you to return, and a writing exercise, which you used to do on site, which took 30 minutes. We now use those 30 minutes to help you practice writing action plans for your club. In order to clarify all of this, because obviously we can't go into huge detail this morning, I'm asking that you request a Zoom presentation for your club if you're interested. We can get some of your questions answered. Prior to that, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. Next slide, please. So our team is currently targeting a rollout for after 1 May 2021, as we are undergoing some training to facilitate the new content and the new format. However, we are happy to engage in conversation with you to enable you to determine if your club will be eligible for the virtual format visioning. I'll also entertain discussions about when we might be able to conduct in-person visioning. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Email, phone, right there. Now I'd like you to please listen to a 2-minute testimonial from someone whose club did experience visioning and how they felt about it. Thank you, Dennis.
Hi, I'm Ed Merrick, a member of the St. Paul Sunrise Club in St. Paul, Minnesota, District 5960 in the good old USA. And just want to share with you some of the excitement I'm feeling about what my club has experienced through visioning, club visioning. We did a couple of visioning sessions, one in 2017, we repeated in 2019, and the results were phenomenal. We had a 40% increase in growth in our membership. We started to become engaged in the community. We were a small club in a large city and weren't really connected to anything. The visioning gave us a sense of purpose, a goal, a vision of where we wanted to be, who we wanted to become, and what difference we wanted to make in our community. It's a great way to do it. And a key to it is having somebody be the club champion, to keep it out in front of you, keep it coming on a quarterly basis, to kind of measure your progress, see what you've accomplished, see what you're still working on, see what's on the back burner, but you're going to get to. And bringing in new members was exciting, and that re-engagement through redoing that visioning within a 2-year period really helped bring them in and engage them, gave them a voice, and gave us further impetus to continue. It's a great thing. I highly recommend it.
You reached the cell phone of Leslie Herman. I'm not going to take your call. Just leave a message and I'll call you back when I can. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dennis. Okay, so again, I want to thank you for the opportunity on this Rotary Saturday morning to talk to you about this great program. I wish we were able to hit the ground tomorrow, but like all things COVID, we are adjusting, and I'm really excited about this new format. It's going to give us more connectivity to the club and help us move them along. One of the issues with visioning is that you were pretty much left on your own when the visioning was completed. And now we will have more follow-up, and we're actually going to collect some data so that we have some metrics to figure out if visioning is really helping your club. Now we have an opportunity for questions. I have a couple minutes here. If anybody has questions, I'm available. So I'm not seeing any questions, Karen. I think unless someone else sees them, I'm going to toss it back to you.
All right, I see Tammy has her hand up.
Okay, Tammy.
So I know with visioning with my club, we've been trying to, for I think a couple of years, be able to get the visioning done with our club. So I know Roberta said that you guys are working on this online thing. So hopefully eventually we'll be able to get that going and get our visioning up to date.
Well, I'm going to sort of hope I'm not stepping on Berta's toes here. However, she had a conversation with someone in your club that you all would be willing to be one of 2 guinea pigs for us when we do roll out the virtual format. So that's what we have on our schedule.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks.
All right, I'm not seeing anyone else's hand pop up there. So Gail, thank you so much for bringing the new visioning format to us so that we can see it there. I've been involved with visioning before, And I must say, visiting the clubs and putting on a visioning for the 12, 14 clubs we did was just so exciting. And you really walk away after a visioning as a presenter, even facilitator for the program, with so many exciting things that you'd like to be able to do. So hopefully we'll be able to all take a part in that. It does take some time. They don't happen weekly. And we do need a team in order to do that. So please bear with us as we're moving into the virtual age and hopefully back into the live age too. So right now,
Thanks, Karen.
thank you very much. So right now I'd like to move over to our next presenter, and that's going to be DGN Jeff Gabriel, who is going to be talking about club surveys, retreats, filings. Oh my, he's got everything, and maybe even the kitchen sink that he is chatting about today. So Jeff, you want to take it away?
Great, thank you, Karen. So if we can, Robin, have the slides.
Oh, you want me to do it? Okay.
If you could, please.
Yeah, just a
Is that
sec.
possible?
Okay, it is possible.
All right.
Maybe-
Well, while she's getting everything ready, again, I'm District Governor nominee Jeff Gabriel, and from the Rotary Club of Bishop Sunrise. Want to welcome all our PEs and as well as our AGs. So my extension of a welcome for you to join us. And we're going to kind of go through what we refer to as the kitchen sink. These are sort of the items that sort of don't necessarily fit in certain areas, but we thought we'd want to cover them. So we're going to go through the surveys, retreats, and filings. And as Karen put it, oh my, I will let you know that the cow and calf here did survive the crocodile. But it certainly have to be careful out there. You never know what might happen. So if we can go to our next slide. Okay, so one of the first things we're going to talk about is surveys and why are they so important. So if you would like, during this next couple minutes, if you want to put in the chat sort of your ideas to share with your fellow PEs, why doing an assessment or a survey would be of value to you and your club, please do that. Some things that we will touch on that might be of importance for your consideration is that by having it where you do a survey, it provides the opportunity for your members to have the feeling from them that you do care about what their thoughts are and what they're thinking. And so it sort of demonstrates an openness for the club to change, to modify itself and adapt to the changes that are going on, not only as its members, but the club and your community. The other part that you're going to see is that it's going to really help craft an ideal club, something that you're wanting to do, which is going to attract, retain your members as well. So having that opportunity to be that information that's of value. And I think District Governor Berta talked a little bit about it, and I think it's been through most of all the presentation, is that members just want to have fun. They want to enjoy their experience. They want to enjoy their time because they are taking time out of their schedule to be a part of the Rotary Club and be a Rotarian. So it's good to sort of tap that opportunity for good fellowship. So through your outcomes, what you're going to get from your survey is you're going to get the likes and dislikes, and it's okay to have the dislikes because that's going to help you make those more likely to maybe be the likes. Don't be shy of those. Those are very important. And again, as Karen mentioned, and each of the previous speakers have talked about, and you have one more coming up, is the 4 elements that Rotary has focused on. So that's going to help you build your action plan. And as Pastor Gabriel talked about, the visioning, and that plays into it as well. Okay, next slide, please. So getting started, how do you do an assessment? How do you do a survey? What things do you need to do? Probably the first and most important part that you want to do is not do it solo, but to reach out to other members in your club to help them be a part of sort of an assessment committee or survey committee that will help you as you go through and assess and analyze the information that you gather. And also then is to identify the best survey. And as has mentioned in Google Classroom, there's some examples of surveys that you can be able to use. I think District Governor-elect Anita mentioned, you can create your own. So you can Google surveys and kind of create what you want and make it adapted to your club. Not all surveys that you may read may be necessarily reflective of your club or the members of your club. So you have an opportunity to be creative, and that's where that committee comes in, because then you're going to have a host of ideas that will be presented. Again, this is not going to take overnight. This is going to take some time. So if you're wanting to do an assessment or survey, which our District Governor, like Anita, is encouraging you to do, you need to begin planning now. When is it going to happen? And obviously sooner rather than later is going to be better. But plan out how you're going to do your survey and your assessment. And you can do in the sense of conducting your surveys in a variety of ways. You can send it via mail, you can see it email, you can send it online by using SurveyMonkey or Google Forms. There are many platforms. You can do multiple platforms actually to gather as much information you can that's more suited for people who feel more comfortable. Or you can do it at a club meeting where you may have a brief club discussion. So look at different avenues about how you can collect that information, because the value is collecting that information so that you can be able to provide for an opportunity for your club to grow. And again, on the right side of that, is just to go quickly through the steps that you're going to need to do regardless of what survey that you choose or what you come up with, is introducing the survey, describing why it is important, distributing the survey, which we touched on, which are either mailing or emailing or online, however that works best, or a multiple of avenues of distributing that survey. But the most important part is the data that you receive back, the responses that you receive from your members, and analyzing that. And again, one thing I would note that you need to be very cautious about, there may be somebody that's in your club that wants to share information, but would not want it to be attributed to them. So confidentiality is very important, and to respect that. So do keep an eye on making sure that, that information that somebody shares that would not want it to be shared with everybody, that that their confidentiality is of value, and that you do retain that for their benefit. And then presenting the results to your club, letting them know, here's what we have, here's what we found out, here's what people are interested in. And then again, taking it and making it into an action plan that's going to be attainable over a set time up period. And again, this is an investment in your club, so really consider it. Okay, Robin, we're ready for the next slide. So what I just kind of covered is a little bit sort of an overall survey that kind of encompasses everything. But there are many more that you could possibly do instead of just an overall survey if you've done one most recently, and highlight some of those because you're wanting to strengthen your membership. What is the classification assessment? Looking at the classification of your members. Are we missing some classifications or areas of focus that may be of value to our membership currently that we may not be covering? So, and again, for each one of these, they're in your Google Classroom. It gives you an example of what those are. The other one is retention. Not only getting new members is a value, but how do you retain the members that you do have? And in some instances, people leave because they don't feel that they're important anymore, or they're not contributing in a valuable way to the club. So doing a focus on current members and how you're able to retain them, and what strategies you can do to keep them engaged and involved. Again, references all in the Google Classroom of these different ones. And then member diversity, looking at your community. Is your club representing that of your community? Are there things that you need to focus on with regard to potentially new members that might help in making the club be more resembling the community in which you're a part of? And that enrichment is going to make your club much more effective and beneficial to the community as a whole. The other part that you are going to have members who are going to leave for whatever reason that might be, but conducting an exit survey and trying to gather information about why they're leaving. Is it a work commitment? Is it time commitment? Is it that there's no meaningful projects that they feel are important. And again, that survey can be, again, in person. It could be, you could mail it to them. You can do it online via email. But those are valuable. And I would mention that exit surveys are good, but one of the most important surveys is actually the pre-survey. When you have a new member, to be able to sit down with them and say, what things interest you? Here's a variety of things that we do in our club. How might you fit into there? Or is there something you would like to do? And then that helps them feel engaged and a part of it right out, right when they start. So think about the pre-surveys as well. Okay, next slide, please.
So before you go on, Jeff, we've got a couple at one that survey represent listening, not talking at, and the surveys are a connection, especially for members that are not as strongly lined with their club due to the COVID separation.
Exactly. Thanks, Robin. Yeah, that is very important. Listening, that's why we have 2 ears. That is very critically and very important. Thanks, Robin. So one of the things that you will want to consider and highly encourage you to do is to do a board retreat. I would note that it is important probably to have your survey, if you're going to do a survey, done in advance, because that information that you gather from that survey will be very important when you do your board retreat. So again, I think it's very timely now to talk and for you to be able to plan, hey, I'm going to do a survey. When is that going to happen? What period of time am I going to be able to get the results back and be able to get it started? And you may have to work with your current president now to be able to say, I'd like to start now on doing a survey for my year, so that when you do your board retreat, you have that information available to you. So the thing that you need to think about when you do a board retreat is who you would invite. And that's obviously your administration team. That's going to be your, if you have a president-elect for the following year of your term, your secretary, your treasurer, your other officers, other members that are of your board, and to think of your Avenue service team that may be a value. And then if there's any honorary members, people who have been long-term members of the club or are an honorary position, that may be a value to give you that historical perspective, which is always valuable. You have to know where you've been to be able to know where you're going to go. I would suggest that you look maybe just a day. Time is important. And so I think looking at a day at the most would be a value over a couple evenings or something like that. But focus on having a good solid day to be able to go through and do your board retreat. Things that you may want to cover, that you want to look at, and are identified on the slide. What is your theme? And again, you're going to have, in addition to your year, that Anita has her theme that coincides with that of Shekar's theme that you saw earlier in this session. But that doesn't mean that has to be your theme. I mean, you can take those 2 themes and build with it and have something that's very specific to your club, because your club is unique and specific to the members that are a part of your club. So looking at what that theme might be and how you're going to utilize it through the year. The other is looking at the Rotary Foundation through projects and how those play into that. So not only what fundraising activities are we going to do to help build our contribution to the foundation, and then what from what we receive of our district grants are we going to do at projects, and then just projects in general. What is the club going to do? And maybe it's something new and something different that you've not done before. Again, exploring all possibilities that you're able to do. And then that's an important part, is the membership component. How are you going to be able to reach out to the community to get other members? And as Shekar says, bring a guest. That person may not join, but bring a guest. And again, as District Governor Alberto said, have that person evaluate your meetings and the experience that they had. So those are areas that you can cover. There's certainly more things that you can touch on if it's important to your club. So be considering of that. Okay, now we're going to move on to the more nuts and bolts things that you might want to think of in their kitchen sink. So this is the drain and the faucet. When you look at a couple things, want to do is with regard to your most important is the tax return. Now, your part is that during your presidency, you are actually making sure that the past president's year is actually submitted. So this isn't for your year, this is for the year of your current president. So you just got to make sure as the president of your club that your club submits the Form 990, and it is due 6 months prior following the end of the Rotary year, which is June 30th. So it's November 14th. So you have to make sure that that's filed. It can be filed electronically or it can be mailed. The other part that's specific to states, depending upon where you are, is that in California, you're going to actually have two, is the Attorney General's office, and then the other one is the Secretary of State. But most importantly is the Attorney General's charitable form that you have to submit, which is RRF-1. And it is required annually, and it is due the 4 months and 15 days or November 15th. So it's the highlighted one there, charitable restoration. And again, these are up on the Google Classroom, so they're there for your viewing to be able to see, and there's actually the actual forms are there, so you can actually see what they are. And again, when you submit that, you must include the 990, so your 990 must be done first, and then you submit it with the RRF-1 to the state's Attorney General's office in California. I would highlight real quickly with regard to that, the other part before I get onto the next form in the state of California, is that if you're wanting to do a raffle in the state of California, that does require that you have to apply for a permit to do that. So, you know, even though you may think it's, oh, we're just going to do a small little raffle, any raffle must be submitted to the state of California to be able to get approval to do that. So just a highlight note. And I see, Nora, you have your hand up. Do you have a quick question that you'd like to?
Well, it's a Nevada question.
Okay, I'm going to hit Nevada here shortly, but.
Okay. The question has to do with, we have a club foundation as well as our club. So, and I know we do the federal filing, but this Nevada needs to be done for both. That's
Yes.
the question.
Yes, I would, at least for the foundation part, it should be, and then if the club really should as well, because the definition in Nevada is any time that you're asking for money from somebody, you need to have that on record with the Secretary of State's office in Nevada. So yes. And then the next part that's required to the Secretary of State's office in California is SI 100, which is again is in your Google Classroom, and that's changes in your board leadership. So we change our board leadership every year with Rotary. So in that regard, you're going to need to submit that form to the Secretary of State's office to show here are new members for this next year. Okay, and then the next is Nevada, which Nora, thank you for your question there. Their requirement is that before you do any soliciting of funds, that you have to submit the NRS 82, again, in your Google Classroom for those who are in Nevada, for you to register your organization for soliciting funds. And then it's from that point forward, it is an annual submission that you have to submit to the Secretary of State's office in Nevada. Okay, next slide.
Jeff?
Yes.
Jeff, what is the date? You have a date for California. What's the date for Nevada?
So Nevada is that it is from the date that you submit it is your anniversary date. So whenever you submit the form, then from that period forward is going to be your anniversary date of when you need to send the form again.
So you have to
I have
look
that right. Is that correct, Lynn?
You have to look at last year's date in order to get the anniversary date to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in the, let's see. When do you know?
I
When-
don't. I thought that actually, I thought both of them tended to run
That's 6
according to
months?
your anniversary dates. And usually you get a reminder, you know, that you've incorporated on a certain day. For the 501c3s, like your club foundation, at least for our district, we tend to run at the end of our fiscal year, just prior to the start of the new year, but that may also be our anniversary date. Anniversary dates are important. That's what I know for both states.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. Yeah, so I would suggest that you reach out to your current president now, because they have actually gone through this. They should have done this the end of last year. I strongly encourage that you kind of, because they're going to have all the information that you're going to need to be able to resubmit. That would be a value to do, is to reach out to them.
And Jeff, I believe the forms actually tell you what date, or, you know, how to calculate the date.
Yes, they do. And Jeff, the form number is NRS 82 in Nevada. Okay, Robin, I think we're ready for the next slide, if there's no other questions at this point. Okay, so Raleigh, what is coming up the 1st of May is your Rotary Awards Learning and Leadership yearly event. And it has specific to it in the celebration of district awards. And so these awards cover very strategic priorities and avenues of service. And those points at which you get recognition is changed each year. So even though currently your club presidents are working on their successes and identifying what those are, District Governor like Anita will have hers that will be sent to you here in the next month or so, and will be available and discussed during the Leadership Learning Academy. So you will have a new set of opportunities to check off and say, yes, I'm going to do this. And here's an example of the forms of this year that kind of look like. I think Anita's is going to be very similar to this. But again, what you're going to do is you're going to receive this. You're going to be able to identify, here are the things that we're going to work on. And again, it gets back to your board retreat. It gets back to your club assessment of what your club is wanting to do. You're going to identify those through filling out the form and sending it in and saying, here's what we're going to do as our club. And then come about this time in 2022, you're going to get this back and you're going to be checking off. Here are the things that we have been able to achieve so far in this Rotary year. And then from that, based on what things that you're able to check off, there's going to be a silver or a bronze, a silver, a gold recognition that's going to happen at Raleigh. So your club's going to be recognized for hitting the gold level, or it's going to be recognized for hitting the silver, or it'll be recognized for hitting the bronze. So again, those things you're going to be able to do and start moving for your current club. Okay. I think one other thing that I'll mention here before I turn it over to Doug is that a couple things that we want to highlight is that, again, do not forget to submit your federal or state requirement forms. Again, one of the things that Rotary International President Shekhar has talked about is that anytime a member of your club brings a person who eventually becomes a member that is asking for you to send a thank you note to that sponsor to say thank you for bringing somebody and adding to our Rotary family. The other part that I would highly emphasize is that use your resources, and your resources are your assistant governor, your district governor, and your club's past presidents. So find that mentor, somebody that you can reach out to, because you don't want to do this alone. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Polar Bear, past District Governor Doug McDonald.
Thanks, Jeff. I just want to share with you briefly the Constitution and bylaws for your club that you should be familiar with. and how flexible they are for you. The Constitution is a standard constitution that Rotary requires. And here's a copy that we're gonna take a look at real briefly, and we're gonna roll down and see where where you can make changes, how the Constitution allows you to be flexible in your bylaws. So if you look at Article 7, meetings, if you go down to Section F down here, exceptions, your bylaws may include provisions that are not in accordance with this section. A club, however, must meet at least twice per month. A lot of questions also about membership. How do we as a club allow for different types of membership? Well, they're listed here: active and satellite club members and honorary members. But if you'll notice in Section 7, it says exceptions. The bylaws may include provisions that are not in accordance with Article 8, Section 2, which is the types of membership, and 4 through 6, which is satellite club members, prohibited dual memberships, and honorary memberships. So you can change some of those things for your club, and that's how you make sure that your club, what your club is doing, is in writing. So that's the Constitution. The other is the bylaws. And here are the bylaws. And these are the recommended bylaws. And you can see that you can adjust the bylaws to fit your particular club. Where do you find the Constitution and bylaws? They're found on the district website. Which is here, and under member resources, documents, forms, and insurance, we've put the standard Constitution and the bylaws. So please be familiar with your Constitution and bylaws. Again, the Constitution is mandated by Rotary. The bylaws are what you can adjust and change. And so you should be familiar with those and update them on a regular basis. Jeff, back to you.
Great. Well, I think for time's purposes, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box and we'll do our effort to respond to those. So I will turn it back over to, do we have Karen or
no, but let me just say,
or Robin?
Jeff, thank you so much for covering the kitchen sink with surveys and board retreats and tax filings, all the critical things, the things that may feel more mundane but are very important for the overall integrity of the club. And with that, we'll turn it over to Dennis and Doug, who are going to do a live tech to assist with updating executive officers and other activities on the district and RI website. You're on, Doug and Dennis.
Thank you, Robin. We've done at PETS, we did a static presentation to all of you how to enter your goals. And I think you all probably have my slide deck to help you but we wanted to do today a live demonstration to show you in a live manner how that actually works. So Doug, do you want to do goals or do you want to do leadership first?
Let's do leadership since we're going to do that from the club website.
Okay, we're going to show you how to enter your leadership team for your year. Why is that important? It's important because when you enter your leadership team on Club Runner, that migrates all the way to RI, so that either RI or the district folks, when they're sending out information to you as a president or as a chair of your foundation or membership chair, you'll get the right information. So Doug is now on the district website in Club Runner.
And then we went to the member area, and now we're going to edit executives and directors.
And we're going to go to the Nevada City Club, it looks like.
And your club should be up right away. You'll use the same looking form, but from your club website. And it'll go directly to your club.
Right. So here's the page you're going to see. The first thing you want to make sure is that you are in your year. So your year is, Doug, you want to?
21, 22.
22.
So we can go back to the previous year, 2021, and then we can go to the coming year, 21, 22.
And it looks like we've already had some information filled out here. So you can go to the edit button. Be careful if you go to the clear button next to it, it's going to clear out that entire position. You'll have to put it in again. So you generally probably don't want to do that. Doug's going to.
We edit a president-elect.
Let's do that. So the position is important to leave the position as it is in the drop-down boxes because RI uses those as official positions. You can change the titles. If you have a different title in your club, go ahead and change that. That's fine. Doug's going to do that now because we're going to have, we've got great co-presidents next year in our club. Select the member's name.
No. Carolyn Foy. Oh, Dennis Gear. Okay, yeah.
And don't worry about this too much. You can always change these. You can't really break it. So be sure to save it. If you want to save it, if you're not just fooling around, go ahead and save it. And Doug's hitting the save button. We're saving right now. So he's making me co-president.
Congratulations, Dennis.
Little did I know. Thank you very much.
It's having a tough time saving it this morning.
Yeah, sometimes the website is not as fast as we would like.
There it is.
So, and that's how you do it. At this point, does anybody have any questions about this process? All right, Doug, I think we're good. I think we can go on.
Dennis?
Yes, yeah.
One thing I would add is don't forget, once you have your officers' positions in place, to put them in as well. In other words, the treasurer, the club service chair, the public image chair, all those names, because those are very helpful when a district membership chair is looking for his membership chairs in the clubs. He's going to go to this list.
Absolutely.
And
Thank
pull
you.
them, so
And
don't
the other
forget
thing is that other clubs, say the area clubs are getting more active, talking to one another, you know, amongst the different designations. So it's important that people know how to find those folks. Thank you, Anita.
So Debbie is, hello, Debbie is asking a question. This is not necessarily your board, but rather your team, correct?
Yes. And many of those members will be on your board.
And Edmund has his hand up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, where do I initiate getting into this? Where do I start?
Doug, you want to go back?
Will.
Yeah, we'll go back for you.
Go back to your home page of your club's homepage. You log in. At your club page, it will look like this, and then you go to member area. From member area, then you go to edit executives and directors.
Thank you.
All right,
Quick
anybody else?
question, Doug, I was just editing mine, but I was doing mine through my club runner off of my page. Is that the same as the District 5190 area?
Yes, my particular page shows all the clubs, but yours will just show your club. So it'll look very similar to this, only it'll be from your club page.
Okay, perfect.
Jeff is asking a question. Can we get an org chart? It's unclear the relationship between Rotary International, Districts Club, and our club as example.
You mean how they all interrelate? Is that?
Jeff, do you want to expand on your question? Are you talking specifically about the online elements?
Not specifically online. I don't understand the difference between a region, area, district. You know, our club's at the bottom of something, and on the top is Rotary International. But I hear areas thrown out, districts thrown out. Those terminology, and I don't understand the relationship between them.
So I think we can go ahead and I'll put something out for that. Basically, actually your club is at the top and Rotary International is at the bottom, making a strong base for us in the clubs. So, but yes, we will put that together and get it off to you, Jeff. And I'll also put it into the Google Classroom.
Thank you.
Jeff, thanks for the question.
Good. That was a good one. Yeah.
Okay, let's enter some goals. So why enter goals? Well, Marshall already addressed that from one of your breakouts. So everybody knows what your goals are. Goals give you a roadmap to you, your club, and especially your club leaders. You know, if you don't know where you're headed, you don't know where you're going. So goals are important to provide structure. So in order to do that, you're going to go to RI, log into My Rotary.
Then go to Manage, Club and District Administration, and to Rotary Club Central.
That's one way to get to RCC. There's a couple others that I think I showed you at PETS.
Another way is to look down here under View Club Goals.
There you go. It's the one I like to use.
It's faster and it's right there when you log into your My Rotary page.
I have a quick question. I know when I had our training there, the learning and reference area for, hold on, let me get my page to cooperate. I know they were saying that the learning center will still be worked on. When will that be officially open for us to share with our other club members?
That's a Randy Riscotti question. Randy, are you still on?
Here, what was the question though?
Okay, so when we had our training last weekend, we had the guest speaker about the Learning Center on our myrotary.org page. And I know they were saying it was still kind of wasn't finalized and ready to go for everybody. I was just curious to see when that would be up and running for us to share with our Rotary members.
Unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that one. As I say here,
Randy, I think I have the answer. Last week, the Learning Center was being worked on technically, so it wasn't available to look at online, but it's available now. I was in it this week.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so Doug has gone into RCC, and the first page that you will see is the dashboard. The dashboard is going to show you trends. You're looking at membership trends, page trends, Doug's scrolling. So project trends, your volunteers. That's going to give you a little bit of, a starting handle on what your history in your club has been for you to start thinking about goals for your year. We are encouraging you to, we're going to show you right now, Doug's going to go to the goal center so you can enter some goals. We encourage you to go in here and set a couple goals even before you talk to your leadership team, have your club retreat. You're going to want to do that to really dial in on your goals and refine your goals. You can go in and change your goals anytime, so it's not set in stone. So here we are at the goal page for our club. And Doug's in, make sure you're in the right year, 21-22.
Okay.
And you can hit the edit button. If you don't have the edit button, that means you don't have authorization. Typically, and Doug is helping me because I don't have authorization to actually make changes. That's typically the club president, president-elect, secretary, and I think possibly treasurer. I'm not sure about that. But if you go in and you don't see goals available for you to work with, then talk to your club secretary or the district secretary about your authorization to do that. So here we are at membership, and we can set a membership goal in that pink box right there. What do you think, Doug? We didn't get to 40 last year or this year, so maybe we should be more realistic. 35 sounds good to me. And then you make sure you save it, and voila, you have set a goal. So we encourage you to set as many goals and as many categories as you have in order to give your club a roadmap for where you want to take it, or where you all want to go, I guess we should say. So any questions about this process?
Just a point here is that you have to select the goal. You can see what the goal means if you click on that hide goal details and history, or show goals and history. And what it means is new member sponsorships means how many members will sponsor a new club member during the Rotary year. So we'll say 4 members will sponsor a new member. You need to, after you enter your goals, to make sure to save them.
Thank you, Doug.
Yes.
Marshall has his hand up and Chessa has her hand up.
I had a question which is maybe one that some president-elects might have, and I'm wondering even as assistant governor what to tell them if they have this question. At PETS, Shekar, I think, said to set ambitious goals. Don't just say you're going to raise $1,000 to bring in one member. Set goals that are ambitious that you can't quite actually achieve. But then if you set goals that are too ambitious and you don't achieve any of them, does that sort of count against you in terms of any of those like district awards or presidential citations or that kind of thing?
Good question. I don't, that's above my pay grade, I think.
So I'll answer on behalf of the foundation. No, we love having stretch goals, and no, you're not going to get penalized if you don't achieve those. And you can adjust your goals as the year goes along. These are not set in concrete, although it's always nice to have something that kind of stays in place so you can measure against it, but you can adjust according to changing needs.
Thank you,
Well
Lynn.
said. I was going to add to that, but she said
Go
it all.
ahead.
No, actually, you can adjust those goals. I would say make them stretch goals, but not unrealistic goals.
Okay, I think we had another question.
Chessa.
I don't know what Rotary Action Group means. I mean, I'm looking at this goal. We have nothing for setting goals. Well, we do, but I don't even know what we set for because we didn't meet them. So I don't know what it is.
Somebody want to take that
Shelter
one?
box, something, you know.
So Tess, are you asking what the Rotarian Action Group, Rotary Action Group is?
Yeah, I have no idea what that means. And it just says how many members will be members of at least one RAG.
Right. So Rotary Action Groups are groups of Rotarians that are gathered together around a specific topic, such as water and sanitation. That's WashRag. There is a RAG for peace. There's one for environmental sustainability. And these groups provide resources. They do projects. They can help you with project ideas, global grants. So they are organized around specific, many of them areas of focus, but specific topics of interest.
And where do we find those groups? Are they on
the, yes, and there's a handout. We can put that in your documents as well. But on the Rotary International website, you can Google Rotary Action Groups and they'll come up. You can also Google Rotary Fellowships, which are organized under more fun things like RVing or motorcycling, so forth. The RAGs are more specifically project-oriented, impactful work.
Do the fellowship groups, are they equivalent to the RAG? So that if we had someone who's in a motorcycle fellowship group, that would count on this area?
Only if they have it listed this year. If they say RAG, they mean RAG. They may have a question on fellowships. I haven't actually looked at all the choices.
Oh, there is one. There is one. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So then you can put that. You've got proof. That's where you've got wine people and everything. Yeah.
And can I just throw out a recommendation? Nevada City had a great program this past week on the Western Region Environmental Sustainability RAG, the new. So it's take note for a great program, and we can send you the contact information.
Yep. And check your newsletter this next month because we're going to feature the video contest that they're doing.
Okay, good. Tammy has her hand up.
Yes, Tammy.
So either Doug or Dennis, can one of you walk me back through? I somehow have lost myself on trying to get to where we need to set our goals.
Sure. Just one last thing before Doug does that, though. He's showing you up at the top, the menu bar. So don't forget, it's not just members and engagement, it's Rotary Foundation. There's a separate tab for service, a separate tab for young leaders, and then a separate tab for public image. You're going to want to take a look at all those. So Doug, let's go back and
so you go to My Rotary and sign in. Go down to, it'll have My Club Snapshot. Go down to View Club Goals. And right above it, it says Rotary Club Central, View Club Goals. So you know you're going to RCC. That's one of several ways to get there. You can also type rcc.rotary.org or go from the top menu bar, but that's the quickest way. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
any other quick questions? All right. Thank you, Doug.
Nora had a question.
Yes,
Hello.
ma'am.
Yes. It appears there's a lot of choices for goal setting, and it appears that we don't have to do all of them, but I believe Anita would like us to do a minimum of like foundation giving and membership and things like that, right? So it's something in each category?
That's correct. The more you do, the better off you'll be in guiding yourself through the year, guiding the leadership through the year. But membership, dollars, and foundation, membership
polio.
growth. Pardon?
Polio, maybe.
Polio, yes. Foundation dollars. The ones that are going to be really detrimental to the success of the club for the year.
Instrumental, not detrimental.
Oh, yes, that's correct. Instrumental.
All right, I also see that we have Yvonne's hand up, and then that's going to be the last question we can take because we do need to move on. But if you do have another question and like to put it into the chat box, our presenters are online, so they'll be able to answer your questions. So Yvonne?
Well, this is sort of an ignorant question, and using that particular avenue, we have to start putting in our goals, but that's for the entire club. Is that right? That one page that I would be going to? So there should be only one person entering in the goals for the club? Or is that something I've been using as a planning document where I'm sort of playing around with it? And there could be, say, 4 different pages like that, one for the president, one for the president-elect, etc.
My suggestion is that you decide in the club who's going to enter the goals and keep track of them. And report out at a regular basis to the board. So you as president can decide who's going to enter those. And I just suggest that you delegate that perhaps to the secretary or executive secretary, but somebody within the club who has that responsibility.
Okay, and then I can make my own sort of subset just to start planning with.
You bet.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Uh-huh.
Great. My goodness, thank you, Dennis and Doug. I know that getting online and be able to see how you actually do it is very important for us. It is one of our glitches not meeting in person because Dennis has done for the multiple last years an in-person, hands-on, bring your laptop, let's get in there and do it together. So unfortunately, this was our best way to do it, but I do know that these 2 gentlemen are available. If you would like to get in touch with them while you're online and they're online, they can walk you through what you need to do. So it's something that we can make work for everyone. And also don't forget, your AGs understand how to do this too. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to be moving on to another piece that I know people had a lot of questions on, especially updating things. Thank you, Doug, for putting your email in the chat box. Many of you are questioning the brand center and things like that. So we brought our very own public image chairperson who is also working on the zone level for public image. And so we would like to introduce Randy Riscotti, and he's going to take it over and send us into Brand Center. Go ahead, Randy.
Good morning, and thanks everyone for being here this morning, and just great to see everybody's face. My name's Randy Riscotti. I'm the public image chair for the district and also serve on the Zone 27 committee for a group called the RPIC, which stands for Assistant Rotary Public Image Chair. I was kind of amazed when they asked me to speak because I'm like not the public image guy to be speaking, but I'm here. So today I'm going to take you on a quick tour of the Brand Center and also our district public image web page on our website. But before we head over to the Brand Center, I want to tell you about an important Rotary update. I'm going to start sharing my screen to do that. And here we go, and we'll play. So this right here, and I know this is an eye chart, so I'm just gonna summarize it for you. This is from the Rotary Board, and it, in a nutshell, says that by June 30th, 2022, that's all of your years as president, that all Rotary clubs must be brand compliant with RI branding guidelines. Down here, the last bullet point, section 4 says, agrees not to permit exhibitions at such events where the application process for exhibitors has not yet begun at all official Rotary events. Basically, it says if your stuff isn't compliant, you can't display it. So to be blunt, as I told you I was at the beginning of this thing, if you send me a flyer and it says, hey, put this on our website, and you got the old logo and the old wheel and all that stuff, I'm going to send it back to you. How's that for starting off for fun in the morning? So, well, let's look at that page right there. In a nutshell, if your logo doesn't look something like this, it's wrong, okay? I've been on the public image committee for a few years now, and everybody asked, well, is this correct or is this correct? If you didn't create it in the brand center, it's not correct. You know, if it's not stretched, if it's got pickaxes and shovel, and yes, I'm looking at you, Nevada City 49er Breakfast Club, sorry, had to say it. You know, it's not brand compliant. So there are two types of wheels or master brand signatures. One says the word Rotary International in the middle. As you can see over here on the right side for the Club of Portola, that's known as the simplified logo. And that is acceptable. Preferably used for small things like when you're doing something digital or you're going to print something really, really small. Sometimes the word Rotary International in the middle of the logo gets, you know, disappears, if you will. So it's either one's acceptable. So it's important we have a consistent brand across the globe. And I was going to tell this joke, and I'm still going to tell it, but then Roberta said, you know, be careful about injecting humor. So you notice I said across the globe. So unless you're a member of the Flat Earth Society, everything I'm about to tell you today applies to you, okay? Because you're in the globe, you're around the world. We want our logo to be the same no matter where we go. People identify us. With COVID, it's especially important that we are putting our brand on things that we do, that we tell people who we are. When they drive out in the town and they see a project that you're working on, and I'm looking at Nora Stevens in my upper right corner, who's doing some flower bed thing at a hospital, I think it is, this week, maybe this afternoon. She called me asking for, you know, where do I get Rotary signage? Oh, I loved it. It was a great phone call. Now, has everybody heard about our new logo? You notice the sarcasm there? The new logo has only been new since 2013. It's not new. Long story short, I see a lot of flyers and things come across the computer here. People asking for you know, can you post it on the website? And I've seen things that have no Rotary identification whatsoever, as zero. It's kind of sad to do all that work and not, you know, not take credit for it. So, what's our brand? It's basically everything we do. And it's about perception. It's not what we think about ourselves. We all are here because we're members. It's what others see of us. So a good example is we have this theme logo that we have, comes out every year. You know, if you put that as your identification on your webpage, the general public has no idea what that means. That only speaks to us. It doesn't speak to our community. So be careful about who you're marketing to. But DG Anita told me that we were looking for help with the brand center. So we're going to go over there, and I'm going to share my screen again. And we're going to take a look, if I can get there. I guess I got to go to another screen to do this. So here's the brand center. Everybody see that coming up? Okay. So the brand center, you get there by typing, you know, by searching for Rotary Brand Center, should get you there. If you're not logged into My Rotary, you may be directed there and have to sign in. But once you get to the brand center, we can take a quick tour of what's going on here at the brand center. What can you do here? The first thing I'd like you to take a look at is this button here called Learn More. Just read that. I'm not going to bore you to death with reading it, but it's important why our brand is, you know, such an important part of who we are and what we do. But over here, up top. Let's start at the top. Our image matters. That's the same as learn more. Guidelines. This is really cool. Okay, guidelines over here. Okay, I told you there'd be sarcasm and it's coming. I have no idea why in the world, if you select the English language, you get all the Chinese stuff as well. Someday they'll fix that, but it is not something I have control over. You search for things, you have to get English and Chinese. But in here, there are guides. Like this is a brand new guide. I hope everybody can see that. If I click on it, it's called Rotary's Areas of Focus. It's a visual guidelines. It tells you how to use that. It's a whole PDF document. Likewise, I'll go back just so you can see where I'm going. There's a whole reference guide on how to use End Polio Now materials. Okay. You can download this. You know, if you're in the Brand Center, you can quick share via email. So say you're a club president and one of your members says, hey, I'm doing this thing for World Polio Day. What do I do? Where do I get the stuff? You don't even have to download it and email it. You could do it right from here. Okay. That's pretty cool. There's stuff in here on Rotary face mask and hand sanitizer guidelines. Okay. There's People of Action guidelines. People of Action is our campaign. We don't just give money, we actually do things. So, you know, learn about our People of Action campaign. There's this one down on the bottom, these last two on the homepage. If you do anything else, just do this. Get this document called Your Logos at a Glance. It will tell you everything you need to know about how to use the proper use of our logo. Likewise, more detail is in this big book here. This is a big PDF, and it was, I don't know, there's 60 pages or something. This tells you everything you need to know about how to properly display our logo, where to display it, so forth. It's a great guide, and it pretty much gives you everything you need to know. I'm going to move over logos. This is the next tab up here. Logo templates. Okay. In here, club logo template. We're going to walk through how to create your own logo. I'm going to hit create. And in here, I got different formats. So this one always gets me because it's Roberta's club.
Nope, that's wrong.
It's kind of wrong. They refer to themselves as Pioneer, okay? Sometimes.
Nope, we are Rotary Club of Amador Upcountry.
Correct. And I'm purposely putting that Pioneer in there, Tammy, because even in the district directory, it's listed as Pioneer in parentheses. And I did that on purpose. I did that because I want to show this as that's kind of big and long and really not probably very usable. Okay. How can you fix that? You can change that over here by going to this above and beyond below logo. And then you can make your logo a little more square. So in this case, we'll just stick to. Okay. That is the proper use of our logo right there. When I hit, that's what it should look like. Okay. Or you can have it above the logo. So it would just say Club of Amador Upcountry, or the standard stock. The club I belong to, for instance, is, and this works pretty well for our club, Club of Sparks. Okay. But we have a short name. We're not the Amador Upcountry Downtown Southeast West Corridor Rotary Club. Okay. So you have some options is what I'm trying to tell you here. Okay. Additionally, you have the option of whether you want to use, most likely you'll use the full color logo, but you could, this is an official Rotary blue logo, azure. Likewise, black. You might need that for some graphic work. If you're getting shirts printed, they'll probably ask you for a solid black logo so that they can use it for digital purposes And of course, a white logo, and you can see there's nothing there unless you print it on top of something else, of course. You have Rotary, Rotaract, Interact. Okay, so these will help you create an official logo. And likewise, we have the normal and the simplified logo. You see the logo change when I went here. This became our simplified logo. So once you've chosen, made your logo, you hit save, give it a name. And you'll come to this page, and this is where everybody gets tripped up. Notice these options are grayed out here. They're not available for use. You have to hit the refresh button maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 times before it will generate those logos. Once you hit that and it's generated the logo, you can click on the download, acknowledge the message, and boom, it downloads the logo to your local hard drive, which you can now use for all kinds of purposes if you'd like. I should have probably asked a poll here, but how many people love the Brand Center? See if I get any answer on that.
You got Dennis and me and Anita and Marshall and Nora and Wynn.
Yeah, the usual suspects.
Randy.
And John Banks.
I'm gonna be blunt. The Brand Center's kind of a pain. Okay.
Randy.
It's hard to use.
Dennis here has a question.
Who does?
Randy, can you talk about when to use a PDF versus a JPEG versus a PNG?
Correct. Good question. So can everybody see here on the screen, this area right here? This PDF document, that would be when you're creating something to use for that was going to be blown up a lot. Okay. If you're going to enlarge something dramatically, say I don't say a billboard, but something large, you're going to make a sign. You're going to want to use the PDF document to start with. JPEG documents or files are good for putting in your Word document, web use, PowerPoint, so forth. PNG stands for Portable Network Graphics File. Long story short, it's the file that's created with a transparent background. So instead of having that white box around everything, you get a transparent file that you can overlay on top of some other image, which is kind of handy to have because sometimes that white box looks a little ugly. Let me see if I can, hopefully, well, I mean, maybe I was trying to blow that up, but it's not working for me. But did I answer your question on that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. What else can you do in the Brand Center? Well, there's materials. Okay. You can create all kinds of club resources. PowerPoints, Zoom backgrounds, club newsletter. If you want to have a physical copy club newsletter, this is the place to start. It's a great starting point for you to create that. Not to be confused with the online club runner ability to create an e-bulletin. There are so many things over here. If you'll explore around in the Brand Center, there are newspaper ads, there are radio ads that you can actually send to people to a radio station and have them play them, and they'll you can adapt them for local use. There are billboard ads. I mean, you got a billboard company that's willing to give you a spot. Great. You can actually go to the Brand Center and get a billboard. Okay. You can download stock Rotary images onto IE Photos. If you're looking to update your website and you want to have, some maybe better looking photos to be up front here, you can do that. You can find them here. Admittedly, most of them are National Immunization Days in India, but there are some local looking ones that you could use in your website.
You can search by topic. It's just, there's so much here to go through. I'm gonna switch gears here, because one of the things I think the Brand Center, an issue with it is the expectations are high, right? It's like, what can I do in the Brand Center? I should be able to just go there and wave a magic wand and it makes something for me, a flyer, a club brochure or something. It doesn't do that. You still need something called taste and a little bit of graphic and digital ability to pull it off. And I'm here to help if you want that, if you need that. But quickly, after taking you through all that, I'm going to give you a sneak peek at something new. I'm going to stop sharing this and go here, and share again. I'm going to go over to our district website. This is District 5190. I'm going to show you something that hopefully will make your life a little easier. I'm going to go to the public image page under member resources. And over here on the left is something new called the Rotary District 5190 Logo Bank. And in here, you find your club. Let's say you're the Club of Alturas. You click that button and there's your logo. You don't have to make it. You don't have to do anything. You just have to go up here and make sure that you download it locally to your hard drive after it displays it on the screen. If you want your Rotary theme logo lockup for this year, click here. Ta-da, there is the Alturas official club Serve to Change Lives logo. I'm going to give you a little hint though. I told you this was a preview. So if your club comes after Amador Upcountry, none of these things work at this point in time because I haven't finished it yet. I'm in the process of uploading all these. So if you're Yarrington, sorry, Yarrington, or, well, I think Yarrington, no, see, that was a test one. It's not finished yet to be bought, but this will be ready by the time you are club presidents. You just come over here, and if you want Rotaract, there's your logo. Please give me feedback when you try it out. It might be ready by the end of the week. Let's just say that.
Randy, what an awesome gift. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I got one last
let's
thing.
see. Okay, one last thing, and then we're gonna, let's see, we have Tammy with a hand up, and we're just about to 12. So I promised folks I'd get them out shortly after 12
All right,
now.
we're gonna finish up here. And
Just
go
one
ahead.
quick question, Randy. Can you show me again on where was that at to get to that, your little special thing for all of us?
Okay, it's on the district website.
Okay.
And you just go to the public image page and on, well, I guess I'll have to fire it up, huh?
I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Randy, I can put it in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So last thing, got to share though, wherever I'm at. I don't know where I'm at anymore. Okay, I'm gonna share my PowerPoint, gonna start it from the beginning. So it occurred to me that one of the reasons, besides Windspiller being really awesome, that one of the reasons that clubs adopt our foundation material so well is there's a tie-in. You have to go through the class to get the money. You have to be certified. You don't do the work, you don't get the certification, you don't get the grant money. Okay, so I've got some Rotary grant money here that I'm willing to give out to every club in the district that becomes brand compliant by the end of this year, this next coming Rotary year. So for those clubs that I've got a challenge grant, you're going to receive this god-awful, gaudy-looking certificate that says you are now in public image compliance. And there are 60 clubs in our district, and I'm going to give away $1, one whopping dollar to your club if you change your brand materials, get your website, get your social media pages updated, and all your club flyers. Call me, email me, text me, carrier pigeon me. I will send your club your wonderful certificate, collector's edition, and this dollar, humongous dollar. Please help me reach my goal of getting rid of $60 next year. Thank you.
Randy, awesome. Awesome. Such great information, so hands-on. We definitely thank you for showing us that. And I know that if you go to the district website, when you look at that district website, you are looking at Randy Riscotti's work. So if you have any questions, he is on the public image with his email address right there. Oh, plus Robin has just popped it into our chat box for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so Randy, just a great job on doing that for us and keeping us up to date and being logo and compliant. So that is just great. I know the first time I got on Brand Center, the easiest way to find it is just put in Rotary Brand Center in your search engine and
Yep.
it'll find it for you, because trying to find it sometimes on Rotary International is a little bit harder. So I'm kind of, I'm the wrap up before we have Anita. So just a couple of things I wanted to bring up. If I could have, thank you very much. My first thing is congratulations. Congratulations to all of our PEs, to all of our AGs for this wonderful time that you've been spending together the last couple of months. And I'd like to, if we could do the next slide, I'd like to thank those who have finished their basic training. And right now we have, and this was a deep dive about 4 weeks ago. So we have Debbie Hunter from Spark Centennial Sunrise Club. We have from Greenville, we have John Banks. From the South Club of South Lake Tahoe, we have James Smack, and oh, of course, Ace was there today with us. From the Reno Centennial Sunset Club, we have Chessa Keen. Thank you very much. You've taken on a lot this year. From Elko, we have Cheryl Paul. From Carson City, Richard Perry. And from Truckee Sunrise, Linda Baumgardner. So thank you all for finishing your club basics in Rotary Central Learning Center. Good job, folks. Good job. I'd also like to thank our new assistant governors for finishing theirs. We have from Area 2, Andy Rybach, and from Area 12, Marshall Rudolph. So thank you also for getting your basic training done. So great job, great job. If, so now your basic training is over. So what happens next? If we could, next slide. So support your club president now. Help them finish up their year so that they can go out with a bang and have a great time. You'll also be making some good fellowship there and working contacts. Work to create the plan for next year. You're working with your board. You'll be able to have everything ready to go. The next would be have a board retreat, and make sure maybe after that board retreat, you're also holding a club assembly so that you can get that information out to your club. Work on inputting those goals and the committee members' names into Club Runner and to Rotary Club Central. Those are important things to do. And last but not least, definitely excite the folks, excite your membership. We got Robin doing the happy dance over in her corner. We want to excite folks for Rally and LLA on May 1st and 2nd, and then LLA will be on May 8th. That is the time where we take all of your folks, and for LLA, bring them all together, and we're going to have some awesome online training for all of your people. So that is where we have your secretary, your treasurer, and other chairpersons involved in training directly, and they've got a bang up program going for that. But before that, we also have the rally that's happening the weekend before. So the conference and then LLA, I know 2 weekends, but I think you'll find that it's going to be real exciting time. So one thing we want to make sure all you new president-elects do, and AGs if you haven't done it, is to send in that absolutely quality photo of you with your picture. So we'll be able to put you into our online digital photo bank and also put you into our actually in hand directory.
And we're
So-
doing a parade of, we're
yes.
doing a parade that we're going to recognize you at Raleigh. But if you
Yes, we want to make sure we have your picture so that we can recognize you at Raleigh. So that is why it is very, very important to get those in. We were supposed to have the first set into Ginny by March 15th. I know that we only had, I want to say 17. So we still have quite a few of you left to get in. So snap that photo and get it into us as soon as you can. And then if you need, yes, today, gorgeous sunlight out in our area. So if you want to use your cell phone to go ahead and do that, that would be perfect. So get that into Ginny, G Lewis at, let's see, G Lewis 5190 at Gmail, I do believe. If Robin could do her happy fingers and get that in, that would be great. So then the last thing, and the last thing I've got to say is that if Robin probably can't move my slide, but anyway, the last thing, it's kind of
here.
Okay, thank you. So now it's your turn. It's your turn to move forward, but don't you cry. Don't you worry. We have lots of people who are here to help you. Everyone who has been on this morning has done a wonderful job. All of the presenters just doing a fantastic job. There are many committee chairpersons that are there ready to help you. All you need to do is send us an email, pick up the phone and call. We're all here to help you. Many of them will do presentations in front of your club via Zoom right now. And so please do not forget, you are not alone. No need to cry. We are all there to help you. So thank you for being with us today. And I would like to turn over the last few minutes to Nita to send us on our way so that we can sail off, hopefully not into the sunset yet, but sail off and have a great year.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you,
Tammy
Karen.
Tammy has a question.
Oh, there's a question.
Tammy,
Tammy, a question?
she's muted.
No.
There
Nope,
she goes.
I know, from earlier. Nope, I'm good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Anita, take
Jenny-
us home. Take us to port, Anita. It's all
Jenny's,
yours.
email is in the,
It's in the chat. Yeah. Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Karen. Thank you, everyone that helped put this all together today, especially Karen, our fearless leader in education training, and she's done a magnificent job of doing all that today. Robin and Dennis for your backroom supervisory skills at Zoom, and all the presenters today. It's been a great half a day for us. And I just want to wrap it up by saying our vision is to take what we've learned and adapt these changes to have the best club experience we can have going forward. Our skills will be taxed at times, but it's up to each of us to embrace change while retaining what's worked well. Let's do more to make membership meaningful to our members, and every club is valued, as we've said. Together we can build from the past turbulent times. Together we can create a welcoming and nurturing club environment for all our members, and together we can provide hope in the world. And together we can serve to change lives. And together we can all be aboard the Rotary ship. And I made my horn work.
That's a
So,
good one.
all aboard and let's get going. And don't forget Rally and LLA in Rally Week. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, guys. It was great.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Lots of
See you
great
soon.
information today.
Great. Thank you all for being there. We appreciate having you on.
Thank you, Karen.
It was
guys.
good.
So welcome.
Thank you, Anita.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Wynn. Thanks, all of you.
Yeah, it was great.
Thanks, all of you. Yes.
Thank you, presenters. Everyone did an awesome job today.
We sure did.
Bye.
Thanks,
See you next
everybody.
time. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks, Karen.
Robin, Dennis, awesome job. Just
Thank
really, really went well. Thank you so much. Thank you
I'm
so
very
much for
pleased
making this
with-
a great day.
Yeah.
Very
Amazing.
pleased.
We
Thank you,
probably could have
Karen.
gone a couple more hours. They kept.
We probably
popping
could
up with
have. They
questions.
really dug that stuff.
Easily.
Yeah, that, especially the hands-on. Maybe we'll have to start with that next time. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll play around with that
All right.
or have separate sessions. So thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Mimi.
I will.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm shutting
Bye-bye.
down. If I can stop my share and end it.